Hi guys, this is Aung La N Sang. I fight for one championship, a former light heavyweight and middleweight champion. And I train at Sanford MMA, and we have a great group of guys that train there. And one of them that I've recently had the pleasure of training with is Rory McDonald. Rory has been fighting since he was 16. He's like 32 now, so he's been fighting for like half his life. In terms of training partner, I've never seen anybody as smooth in their transition from their striking to their wrestling to their grappling. And in my opinion, like, I watch Rory a lot, in his fights. His transition, I would say, is the best aspect of his fight game. The way that he can move from the striking range to the grappling range is just, awesome. And what that brings to the table is that, MMA is a different sport in itself, very different from just striking, kickboxing, or wrestling or jiu-jitsu. And he's able to beat guys that are better strikers, beat guys that are better wrestlers, and beat guys that are better jiu-jitsu, because he's so smooth in those transitions. And I had the pleasure to learn from him and to train with him. And he'll be competing in PFL for the $1 Million tournament, which I think is a very, very cool concept, where the fighters, at the end of the tournament, gets that grand prize of $1 million, and also the title as the champion. So that's really cool. So like I mentioned, Rory, he beats guys that are better striker than him because of his transitions, and from the recent fights is against Douglas Lima. I would say Douglas Lima is a better, kickboxer, a better striker. But the way he was able to smoothly transition from striking to wrestling was what made the big difference in the fight. I'm a big fan of Rory, and I'm a big fan of his style, how he's able to transition. And for me to be a teammate with him at Sanford is a big honor. And every time I'm able to see him or train with him, I take big advantage of that. So another training partner that I admire a lot is Jason Jackson. He has a tree business, and he's a full-time fighter as well. I love his work ethics. He always shows up, and I love how hard he works and the things that he does to provide for his family, a better life for his family. And I really enjoy training with him. He's been around for a while, everybody knows his story. He wasn't the tough, didn't do so good there, but then now, I feel like he's in his prime, and I think he's primed to get that, Bellator championship belt. Jason Jackson is very smooth. If you look at his striking, it's very clean. He's got wrestling as well. He's also one of the guys that can transition very well from the striking range to the wrestling range. And you saw it against Paul Daly, how he was able to take away, Paul's power. And Paul Daly is super dangerous, and Jason, he can strike too, but the route of least resistance, the path of least resistance for him was the grappling, and he would, and you can see it in that fight how smoothly he transitioned into those takedowns. It's mixed martial arts, It's you have to respect, and you have to be aware of every aspect of the game. And I feel like Jason is he's like a lion. A lion can take down a big animal. And he does that because he's able to adjust, and he's able to find holes in everybody's skill set. And that's why I enjoy watching this fight a lot. And when he fought Neiman Gracie, Neiman Gracie's jiu-jitsu is super good, and he was able to nullify that. He was able to shut that down by being on top, making sure his positioning was right, and also keeping him at bay with his strikes. One of the most complete fighters in our team as well. So yeah, these two, Jason Jackson and Rory McDonald, I would say are they have one of the best skill set, and their transition is what makes them super successful right now. So these two welterweights that I train with, Rory, And Jason Jackson, I have big expectations for them. You know, I see that, you know, I see Rory winning the PFL, and Jason, you know, within a year or so, winning the Bellator championship. And they're both going to be, they're both going to be champions, and they're both going to be up there for a while.